So I thought I'd do a quick video here showing a lubrication point that some of you may not know about on the Remington 7600 and the later 760 model rifles. So when the 760 was first introduced, represented by this is a 1960 production Remington model 760. The forearm rode on a full-length tube reminiscent of 870. Of course, this isn't a magazine tube. It has a detachable box magazine. This tube is simply for the forearm to ride on. So the early 760s had the full-length tube for the forearm. When the 760 carbine was introduced, the 760 carbine had a new system. And right around the 1967, 1968 time frame, the full-length rifles also switched to the new system. So the later 760s and the model 7600s, when you work on action on those, there is no tube that extends beyond the forearm. These rifles have a telescoping tube system, which reduced weight, kind of made for a cleaner looking rifle. However, they introduced a failure point. The telescoping system rifles and carbines, they have a rubber O-ring in the telescoping tube assembly. And what can happen is that rubber O-ring can dry out. If it's not lubricated periodically, that rubber O-ring can actually break. And when that happens, a number of things can happen. If that rubber O-ring breaks, it can kind of make the action seem like it's jamming up. It can operate really stickily. If the rubber O-ring breaks and falls out completely, then you can have a rifle that the forearm just rattles, has an excessive rattle in it. The way these forearms are, that rubber O-ring, as you can see, I'm kind of rattling it. It prevents noise, and it also, if it's lubricated properly, it allows the forearm to operate very smoothly. So I'll just show here what I do with these rifles. I have here some silicone lubricant, and it works well on rubber, plastic, and so forth. So I use this lubricant very sparingly on that rubber O-ring, and I'll show exactly where to apply this. And it makes the rifles work extremely slick, and it also can increase the longevity of that rubber O-ring. But I'll just demonstrate something here real quick. These rifles, when they're properly lubricated, work very slick. And I'll just demonstrate that. So the hammer's already cocked on both these rifles. But if I just hit the action release, you can see it just falls open. And that's how these rifles should act. If these rifles are lubricated properly, this is the 760 or the 7600s, when you hit that action, it should just fall open like that. If it's not doing that, then that's kind of a sign that maybe the lubrication isn't what it should be. So I'll just kind of show here where I lubricate on these rifles. Use a straw and some silicone lubricant. And if you look in here, you'll see there's an inner tube and then the outer tube that the forearm is attached to. With the forearm forward, action closed, you can't actually see the rubber O-ring, but it lays right in here somewhere. So if you take your silicone lubricant and just give a little spritz, and maybe do this once a year. It doesn't take much. Just give it a little spritz there. There you can see I put a little silicone lubricant where that tube goes. And then after I do that, I just keep the gun pointed downward. Just work the action a few times. And that gets that silicone lubricant on that O-ring. So I'll demonstrate on the 7600. Again, when these rifles are properly lubricated, the action should just fall open. So if your later model 760 or 7600 is not working as slick as it should, give that a try. just hit that area with a little silicone lubricant. But yeah, properly lubricated, these 7600s and 760s are extremely slick operating rifles. Yeah, and that may prevent you having to replace that O-ring as well. So I hope this helps somebody out there. Have any questions? Just let me know.